Welcome into Zach's Recruiting Attack on this Monday, November 6, 2023. Ole Miss is 8-1, has won 8 of its first 9 games for just the third time in 60 years. But that is not why Zach and I are together here. This is not hashtag not here. This is not the flagship because I happen to be on the podcast, the Talk of Champions Network. Just search Talk of Champions wherever you get your podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify. You'll find all of these shows. This is Zach's Recruiting Attack because my man has been calling something that has just now happened on this Monday for a while. Zach Berry of the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, the website that we both write for. Sign up today for the very low cost of $1 for a sub. For this recruiting coverage, this breaking news recruiting coverage. Hey, Zachary, how are you?
A lot's happened as it's 12:30 local time. About to step out the door, try to get some exercise in, ride the bike, and things started happening quickly as Braylon Stonka. I like to throw out Stonka a good bit. That's his nickname. His mom is very adamant about that being his nickname, and she's a big fan of that. And probably wherever he ends up, probably going to see some kind of branding with that. Decommits. You were very skeptical, and look, I'm not trying to like point fingers or say, haha, gotcha. But
come on,
I was very adamant that I thought Braylon was a guy that really cared about the system he's going into. He wants to truly believe that like he can succeed in it. He was very big. Every time I've spoken with him, he was very, it would always he would direct the conversation. That's, you probably do it a lot too. I feel like that's kind of like a thing where you let the recruit kind of guide you through the conversation, that you get a little bit more organic, more thoughtful, honest answers that way. But he would always talk about offense, and he wants to go somewhere where he's not like, I want the ball every play, but I want to go and get my touches and have fun and whatever. And I always said like this offense that Zach Arnett's doing is not it. Like it's not working. I don't know why they tried to do this hard switch so quickly. I thought they should have let Will Rogers run the air raid his last year and then try to do something in the offseason, because that's just hard. You don't have the personnel and the quarterback now that Will Rogers is hurt. I mean, you're playing a transfer from Vandy, and they were playing a true freshman on Saturday. So I guess I haven't spoken with Braylon yet. I've reached out. He hasn't gotten back to me. He's usually pretty good about it. But I imagine it has a lot to do with the wins and losses, the record, and just the trajectory of the program right now in Starkville does not look like it's in an upward direction. You go north to Oxford, Ben, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out where Ole Miss is going right now. I mean, phenomenal atmosphere every single home game. You're a national brand. You've got cool uniforms. You've got big crowds. You've got big prospects coming in town to check it out. You've got a head coach that, look, all jokes aside with the Twitter and everything, like it resonates with the young kids and they like him. Chance Robinson said that. We'll get into him in a little bit. Just about how cool, like he said Kiffin was a cool dude. Like he's chill, but he's a straight shooter, very straightforward and honest guy. So he likes to have his fun and joke around and troll, but pro mindset. Like I talked to a lot of guys over the weekend, and they said very businesslike when they were in Oxford. So I don't know. I didn't think it would happen right now, but maybe Burnside's wanting to reopen things up and take some trips. When I spoke with him in June, the night before he committed to Mississippi State, he told me he wanted to take all 5 officials no matter what, and he's going to explore his options. He's going to hear everyone out. So I imagine he is going to do that, and he still wants to be a December grad, December signee, so he's better get to moving because Starkville's in the playoffs too, so he's still playing football.
Who do you think is going to be the biggest benefactor immediately for Stonka Burnside here, decommitting from Mississippi State? I think it's an obvious question. I think it's Ole Miss, right?
I think it's Ole Miss, and I'm speculating. I haven't talked to Braylon. I've asked him if he wanted to talk to kind of fill me in on what went into the decision. But I'm speculating based on Mississippi State's not good, and Ole Miss is very good, and Ole Miss's offense is very good. I mean, Trey Harris is lighting people up. I mean, he was on Pro Football Focus's, team of the week, and you've got Jordan Watkins and Dayton Wade are over 500 yards. I mean, the only program in Power 5 that has 3 guys over 500 yards. Jackson Dart's, 387 through the air. The score from far thing is now becoming a thing. I would say the only threat right now with my theory and my speculation is Alabama, but I still think the offense at Ole Miss caters more to what Burnside does and what he likes. Kiffin has been very good at physical receivers in the slot. Jonathan Mingo lit people up last year when he was healthy. Malik Heath, I don't think gets talked about enough. I mean, the dude went from a guy that was pretty good at Mississippi State, and now he's in the NFL because he came to Ole Miss, and Kiffin just did, worked wonders with him. They played him outside. They played him inside. Burnside, to me, is a guy that, look, he's from Starkville, so it's natural. He looks like A.J. Brown. He moves like A.J. Brown. He's very physical. He is really good after the catch. I've seen him in a 7-on-7 setting. I've still yet to see him live on a Friday night, but just strong hands, really good route runner. And that's kind of what A.J. Brown's hallmark was. We can make the jokes. He played in a Phil Longo offense, but he still ran good routes. And he would just pluck balls out of the air and would just make you pay in space. And I think that's what Burnside does. He's very good after the catch and very deceptively fast. He's a thick guy, but he runs well. Bama's had good receivers over the last couple of years. This year, not so much. They've got some good ones, but not great. I just think what's happening in Oxford right now, it just sets up perfectly for them to just kind of, here you go, Braylon. Here's the tape. The other 2 teams that I thought would be in the mix to the end before he committed to Mississippi State were Texas A&M and Arkansas. And both of those teams are struggling right now. Offensively, bad. There's rumblings all over the place after the weekend that there are several offensive guys in College Station that are going to be getting into the portal because they're frustrated. I know they put up 35 points on Saturday. Just kind of one of those games where it was just back and forth. But, there's some dudes over there, Noah Thomas, Musa Muhammad, and, they got some really talented wide receivers that are just not getting enough touches. And Jimbo is just, they're withering away over there. It's just it's fascinating, but also has to be frustrating for them to have so much talent. And I know that Connor Wegman got hurt. That would have been a different game with Wegman. He's a different quarterback, but I think right now all signs point to Ole Miss. Maybe Auburn tries to, Freeze is going to try. He's going to pull that card of,
yes,
I got A.J. Brown.
DK Metcalf.
But them too. They're anemic as well on offense. So Illinois is going to try because of the quarterback there. Trey Petty, his teammate, is committed to Illinois. Luke Altmaier's at Illinois.
That's not
they're not a real player.
It seems like it's lining up for Ole Miss. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, and one thing before we close the book on Burnside, I'll say this. Derek Nix has been recruiting him for probably 5 years, and Kelvin Bolden's been recruiting him for 2 or 3 years. Lane Kiffin personally recruiting him. That's, I think, is going to be the key. Old-fashioned recruiting stuff, just relationships, the comfortability of knowing you're going to be taken care of. I think his mom is comfortable with the situation at Ole Miss. I think that's huge too. Now, A&M is probably going to be in the mix just because it's A&M, and we know about the collective, and we know what they can offer. I've heard people say that they're going to be in the mix because of that. Yeah. I think old-fashioned recruiting.
The money, if they want it to be, can be stupid at Texas A&M.
Old-fashioned recruiting is going to be big here, and then also you got to remember Burnside's tight with Aiden Williams. He's tight with Suntarian Perkins. They were on a visit last year together. I just think that's going to be the difference. Sure, A&M will throw out some big NIL numbers. Auburn might do it. I don't know if Alabama will really jump in here. They could. I'm not saying they won't, but just right now I'm not hearing that. But as far as anyone else that was in town that was big, Caleb Odom's the big one. Mention, speaking of Alabama, it just can't be overstated enough that he made his way to Oxford 2 weekends in a row. That's huge. I don't care what anyone says. That is a factor. That is a real tangible thing. Unofficial, came for Vandy of all games. Let's say Ole Miss gets Burnside. So per the on 3 industry ranking, that would be the number 1, 3, 6, 7, 8 players out of the top 10 to pick Ole Miss. I don't ever think you're going to just sweep the top 10 in the state.
No.
It's two SEC programs in the state. It's just not going to happen. Mississippi State's always going to get at least 2, 3 times. And then this year you've got a unique case of Daniel Hill, who is from Meridian, which might as well be Tuscaloosa. And he said all the right things anytime I ever talked to him about Ole Miss. Loves the coaches, loves Oxford, loves what they do. He was never going to go to Ole Miss. Dad played at Mississippi State, and Alabama and South Carolina are fighting over him right now. Outside of that, is Mississippi State going to be able to hang on to J.J. Harrell? Are they going to be able to hang on to Jimothy Lewis? And then you've got the 2 Florida commits in Jamonta Waller and Cannon Daniels. I still think Waller ends up at Auburn.
And then transfers to Ole Miss.
Could, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Cannon Daniels, I think he's all in with Florida. I think he kind of sees a path for him to step in for ETN when he leaves. But outside of that, I mean, that's pretty damn impressive in the top 10 in the state. Yeah. I think Ole Miss wanted to see how Harrell's senior season went because he was coming off the knee injury. I think they wanted to see how his knee responded, if he could play, if he still had the same burst. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he's had a really good senior year. He's been asked to do a lot. I think he's been asked to play quarterback for North Panola, but I think the knee has responded well. I think he's played very well for the Cougars this year. So we'll see. I mean, that might be the dude that State just puts up the money to hold on to. Are you looking at cutting your health insurance premiums by as much as 20 to 30%? Are you aging into Medicare and need help finding a Medicare supplement plan? Call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group at 601-953-8449. Drew is an Ole Miss grad located in Mississippi and licensed in 7 states. He works with the nation's 2nd largest health insurance brokerage with access to 35 different carriers, and he can help you with any of your health insurance needs. From regular health plans to life insurance to dental and vision and even Medicare, he has it all covered. Now more than ever, it is critical to have a health insurance agent who is local and accessible. So call Drew Moak at 601-953-8449 and get your free quote today. Chance Robinson was in town, another guy that could potentially be on Flip Watch. Talked to him last night. You can read about it or I guess you could read the conversation that I had with him at omspirit.com. Chad Simmons talked with him as well. Stephen Wagner from Miami's On 3 site talked to him. A lot of really positive things to say about Ole Miss. It's down to Miami, Ole Miss, and Ohio State. And I think that, the quote that he had that was pretty telling was Kiffin told him, hey, if you want to be an NFL wide receiver, you go to Ole Miss or you go to Ohio State. If you want to be an offensive lineman, you go to Miami. So, and he said, he was like, look, that was pretty cool how honest he was. Like, he didn't just say, well, Ole Miss is the only place you can go. Like, no, he threw in Ohio State too, because, Brian Hartline knows what he's doing over there. Like, they've got some good wide receivers. But
legendary wide receiver in there. But, yeah.
Yeah.
The point still stands when you look at Ole Miss representation in the NFL, where are they most represented at wide receiver?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's not like a done deal by any means. But I do think Ole Miss gave Robinson a lot to think about, and he's going to Ohio State next week. And then he says he will probably go to Miami one more time. I mean, he lives in Fort Lauderdale. It's not far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he told me that he will probably know one way or the other after his Ohio State trip what he wants to do. So Ole Miss did all they could over the weekend. And then, yeah, going back to Odom, I don't think I got into it as much, but that one's going to go down to signing day. It's going to be a dogfight. I think he knows the offense caters to his skill set at Ole Miss. He saw what Trey Harris did with his own eyes on Saturday. I think that's somebody he could be in this offense.
So he's a receiver in this offense. He's not a tight end.
He basically plays wide receiver at Carrollton High School. I mean, I think they're pitching it to him now as like, hey, you could be Trey Harris. You know, we thought Michael Trigg would be in here and be doing big things. Maybe you get bigger and you can be him. But for now, like, you know, just come here and we'll get you the ball. It's going to be a fight. I know his parents really like Alabama. There's a big connection there. But it's not that they don't like Ole Miss. I mean, he's been there several times now, so it's obvious. Dane Stevens has done a phenomenal job. They have not given up. They battled with Alabama. They've gotten him on campus several times. You know, John David Baker, Lane Kiffin, Kelvin Bolden, that whole staff has really, really fought to get him back, and they did it. That's the big thing. You know, supposed to come for the Arkansas game, the ride fell through, whatever, all the jokes, but they got him back twice. So we will see with that one. So it'll go down to signing day. Lastly, I would probably say the other one to know about or to think about or have a, you know, bookmark it, get a tab open, Keelan Lacey. He is set to take some OVs coming up. There was an intel piece that came out today from Sam Spiegelman. Ole Miss, Florida, SMU, Arizona State, Alabama are all coming after him hard. He says he's going to take 4 officials to Alabama, SMU, Ole Miss, and Florida in December. So he's not in any hurry. He's going to take his time. Lancaster's still in the playoffs, so he's finishing out his senior season, and then he's going to get down to business and make a decision. I mean, he's up there with Odom as like a number 1 guy on Ole Miss's board right now. Like they want him bad. Enrique Davis has done a really nice job. Kevin Smith. He came in for Juice Fest, got to see the new facility, and they're going to try to get him in for couldn't get him in for a game because he went to Bama last weekend. But I imagine they'll be fighting for the last OV in December and try to make that one last swing at getting him to land in Oxford.
If Ole Miss recruiting is your thing, what more could you ask for than that Zach recruiting attack or hashtag not committed? I don't know. We both are for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate on 3. So if you want more, you just got to go there. And if you sign up today, it costs you $1. $1. Thank you, buddy. Enjoyed it.
All right, man.